And good evening and welcome to another edition of Ralph Williams One-on-One. And it's been a few with Ralph Williams One-on-One, but we're here tonight. And we welcome you to the program. I have a very special guest tonight, Mel Farr Jr. He's in the waiting room, and we'll have him come up shortly. You're in the First Line Consulting Services studio. Call them today for a great website price to build you a website at a very minimal price, 1-877-926-6982, or get on their website at firstlineconsultingservices.com. They will build you a website and charge you a low monthly fee, manage it, let you upload stuff, anything you need to be done with the website. It's all one low price. Also, our other sponsor tonight, Hillcrest Beef. Don't forget to get a hold of Hillcrest Beef up in Richmond, Ohio, for the best packaged beef deals. I was just there on Saturday. I met with the owners, and I got to tell you, they said everything's going well, and they just started shipping. So get on their website at www.hillcrestfarmsohio.com, and also check out their email at hillcrestfarmsohio@gmail.com, and also Hillcrest Farm on their website or on their Facebook page. Or you can call 740-346-5442, 740-632-2894. Also, our other sponsor, Draft 412. Draft 412 is a draft website that has all of your draft needs. And what I mean by that is, let's say, for instance, you have, you want to get involved in the hockey draft, which is coming up. Baseball draft is coming up soon. The NFL draft, the NBA draft, anything draft related, get on the website, Draft 412. They have a low monthly payment, which is it's as low as a cup of coffee in the morning. It's very low. Get on there, see what they're offering, and also don't forget about Draft 412. And finally, our last sponsor of the night, we're going to talk about DJ Fun. DJ Fun is a party, wedding, and special event DJ, 412-545-4317. Look, I spoke to DJ Fun. Twice he's had two consultations with two different clients, and they both told him the same story. That is that they're getting DJs that are overcharging them a 4-hour party, two DJs, one wanted $700 and the other one wanted $900. Not DJ Fun. Give him a call today, 412-545-4317. All right, now let's get started with Ralph Williams One-on-One. Our special guest, Mel Farr Jr., who is in the waiting room. Mel, welcome to the program. It's great to have you. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. It's great to be here. I appreciate it.
All right, Mel, tell us who you played football for when you were in the NFL.
I was drafted by the Broncos in the 9th round in 1988. And I was let go, and then I tried out with the Rams. Made the practice squad. That was the first year of the practice squad. Made their practice squad, and then I got brought up on the 16th game of the season, and then played 3 playoff games. Went back to the Rams the next year. Was released, and then I went out to the Lions. That's where my dad played. My brother was playing there at that particular time, and then I got released. And then I said, well, I got to get myself a real job. I had a wife and 2 kids at that particular time, so got into the family business and moved down to. Well, actually, I'm sorry. Actually, I played a year in the World League of American Football before.
Oh, great! Wow, that's a blast from the past, huh?
Yeah, the very first year, their inaugural year, I was with the Sacramento Surge, and I had a good time out there. But my son, when I left him, he was about. I think he was about 4 or 5 months old. I was gone 3 months, I think it was. I came back. He didn't recognize me and didn't want to come to me. And I said, well, I'll never leave you again. And so that's why I tried out with the Lions. We were living there in Detroit. And I said, I'll go ahead and give this a shot. And that didn't work out. So, like I said, I would never leave him again. And so I got in the family business. We moved to Ohio and lived down there for 3 years. And then moved back to Detroit, then moved back to Ohio. But that's my football career, my professional football career.
Where'd you go to college, Mel?
I went to a little small school out west, man. Most people probably haven't heard of it. It's UCLA.
No, that's no small school, buddy. That's no small school. I know you're kind of angry, but they lost the Sun Bowl to Pitt this past season. So, you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and they lost to USC this year. But they're coming around. Chip I think is doing a great job getting some players in there and competing. We'd like to see him, replicate what he was able to do up there at Oregon, down there at UCLA. But
right.
we're excited about the upcoming season and see what the Bruins can do. Obviously, they're going to have this is going to be the first year in a long time that they're going to have a new quarterback in there because DTR is gone. He's gone to the NFL.
Yeah,
So
I wanted the Steelers to take him because I liked what I saw in the Sun Bowl with him. He could play wide receiver, quarterback, and he could return kicks and punts. And I thought, oh wow, that'd be a great. We need a kick return. The Steelers do. They need to get somebody in there steady. They're planning on using a rookie this year, but I'm not sold on this guy. He was hurt all last year and didn't even see the field. So we're going to find out what happens. But, they're saying he's going to do good. So we'll find out what goes on with this as well.
Yeah.
Now, you say you're a Detroit Lions fan as well. What's your thoughts on Dan Campbell?
Well, Detroit Lions fan because my dad played with the Lions. And,
right.
And my brother played with them. And then that's, the home team. Initially when Dan Campbell got hired, I wasn't very impressed. And I was actually I was upset because I like Jim Caldwell. I thought he did a good job, and I really don't think he got the opportunity to really put his stamp on that team and help that team and improve and turn that team around. He got fired, and he had a winning record when they let him go. And I think the year they let him go, I think they were 10-6 or
right.
Something 9-7 or something like that, and they let him go. So yeah, I was a little upset about that. Obviously, Dan Campbell came in, had his press conference. I'm like, man, who's this guy talking? Who's this guy, man? Talking about biting kneecaps and all that kind of stuff. So to be honest with you, the first year I wasn't very impressed with him, but I watched Hard Knocks last year, which I never do. But they were in Detroit, and I watched it, and I grew more and more impressed with his rapport, how he dealt with the players. And just him and his personality. And I said, you know what? He's the right coach for that city. It's a blue-collar city. He's a blue-collar type coach. He wants his guys to play hard. He wants them to play physical, fast. And, so then I became a Dan Campbell fan. I was rooting for him. And then you look at what they've done, what they did last year, you can't help but root for the guy because he's got the type of players in there that he wants. There's a certain type of player that he's looking for. And, and they respect him. He respects his players, and they get the maximum out of their players. You can't ask for more than that. And they represent the city well because, like I said, Detroit's a tough city, and the Lions are a very tough team.
Let me ask you this, Mel. I know you're on a lot of Scott Morganroth's programs, and I know you're on the Fire Up Michigan show. What do you think the Wolverines are going to do this year?
I like Jim Harbaugh. I'm not a Michigan fan, even though I'm from Michigan. I'm a Michigan State guy. I like Jim Harbaugh. I think they will continue to build on what he's built on, what he's done the last couple of years. Obviously, the first few years it was tough. They hadn't beat Ohio State, and that's difficult. I don't care how many games you win, you want to beat your arch rival, and they hadn't been able to do that. Hadn't been able to get over that hump. I think obviously the Big Ten's it's a tough conference, and you're gonna have to play Ohio State. You're gonna have to deal with Ohio State. You're gonna have to deal with Penn State. Wisconsin's got a new coach up there. We're gonna see what's gonna go on with Wisconsin rather. Michigan State had a down year last year. I'm sure they're chomping at the bit to get back at it and get back in there and compete for a Big Ten championship as well. But I expect good things from Michigan, to be honest with you. Like I said, I like Jim Harbaugh. I liked him from way back when he's at the University of San Diego, and then he went up to Stanford. He did it the right way. Nothing was given to him. And obviously the things, what he was able to accomplish at San Francisco.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You got Wisconsin with Luke Fickell, and then you have Matt Rule at Nebraska. So we're going to see how that all goes. You know what I mean? Up that way. It's
even though both of those schools are in the West, but you may have to play them in the Big Ten championship.
In the Big Ten, right. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens with those teams this year. I don't see Wisconsin losing a step with Luke Fickell unless his style of offense or whatever goes goes awry. And then Matt Rule, he's got to bring back some toughness back to Nebraska. When Tom Osborne was there, Mel, I think you'll agree with me. He was one of the best in the business.
Well,
So
I grew up when Nebraska was a powerhouse. I'm from I'm from an era where Nebraska was a powerhouse, and we had the opportunity to play Nebraska a couple times when I was at UCLA, and they handled us.
Other than USC, speaking of your career in UCLA, who was one of the other tougher teams other than your arch rival USC?
We played Nebraska and we played Oklahoma. And,
Oklahoma, yes.
We played Miami, University of Miami, my freshman year. We actually beat Miami. We beat them in the Fiesta Bowl when I was a freshman. But yeah, we played Miami. We played Oklahoma. We played BYU when they came off of their national championship year. So there was a lot of tough teams. But I'll tell you, some of the toughest teams that we played were, one of the toughest teams that we played, to be honest with you, Fresno State and Arizona. To be honest with you, I mean, Fresno State, those guys would light you up. They'd hit you. In Arizona, I mean, they just hit hard for whatever reason. Yeah, they hit hard. Yeah, but those are two tough teams. But we had an opportunity to play. We played Tennessee one year. We came out to Knoxville and played the University of Tennessee. I think Sam Grady was there at that particular time. I can't remember who the quarterback was. I think it was a young black kid that was a quarterback at that particular time. But yeah, we played some big time football. Played University of Florida in the the Aloha Bowl. When Emmitt Smith was a freshman, so we got to play him. Yeah, beat them too. So
Yeah, it's what's your thoughts on the current NFL right now, Mel? And then also I want your thoughts on the current college football.
Well, the NFL has changed from when I played, obviously. Number one, the number of people you can bring into camp. My first year, you could bring as many people as you wanted to. Dan Reeves was from that old school mentality, like the Dallas Cowboys, they bring in anybody. You had 150 guys in camp, and that was before the veterans came in there. And guys were getting cut every single day. You could hit all day long. 2 days where camp was 6 weeks long. It was 2 days for 6 weeks. In Greeley, Colorado, we're up there by some cow pasture or something like that. It smelled like manure every single day.
Every day, right.
100 degrees in the shade. But the contact, there was a lot more contact when we played. Obviously, during the game, there's a lot more contact. So the game is it's a lot less physical than what it used to be. And I think, that might be a reason why you see a lot of the injuries that you see happening, because, you have to develop the callus on your body. Your body's got to get used to having that contact all the time. If you're not, practicing that type of stuff, then it's going to be very difficult when you get out there during the game. But, the game is still exciting. It's a lot more passing now than what it was back then. It's more quarterback dependent than it was when I played. Running backs were making all the money back then. Now running backs, they look at them like a kicker now, which really upsets me, especially when you're talking about somebody who touches the ball, third most on the team other than the center and the quarterback. I mean, the running backs can touch the ball is, a number of times, 20 to 30 times a game, but you want to pay him the least. Wide receiver, they might touch the ball 5, 6, 7, 8 times a game, and they're getting 20, 25 million, upwards of $30 million a year. So, is not sustainable. The money that they're paying the quarterbacks is just not sustainable because it doesn't allow you to have proper depth. So there's going to have to be some type of correction that goes on at the quarterback position, at the wide receiver position. Some of these positions, it's just going to have to be some type of correction. And we got to get these running backs paid. They got to get paid. The running backs are having a very difficult time getting a second contract. If you don't get a second contract, you're not going to get paid. Not
at all. Absolutely
you're not going to make a living in professional football. The whole key is to try to get yourself a second contract. And if you can't get a second contract with some guaranteed money, then, you're just out there really just putting your body through all this for nothing. And you're not going to have anything to show for it when you leave the game.
That's why the shelf life's been like 6 to 8 years, Mel. I mean, it's been crazy,
For running backs, it's probably
yes.
the best. I think what happened is, when they came out with the rookie wage, with the rookie scale a number of years ago, The whole idea behind that was to try to keep veterans around. Well, that's not really what's happening. Veterans really aren't staying around because teams have gotten smart. Why are you going to pay a veteran all this money? We can just get a guy in the draft that's going to be just serve the same purpose and pay him a lot less money. So veterans are getting booted out earlier now. You see guys all the time. I mean, the NFL contract is not really worth the paper that it's written on. The only thing that's worth anything is the guaranteed money or the signing bonus. That's the only thing that's worth anything. Anything else after that doesn't mean anything unless you play certain positions. Quarterbacks, they generally see the end of their contracts. There's a really, that's probably the only position that really sees the end of their contracts. Other positions never get an opportunity to see the end of those contracts.
How about college football these days? You have this transfer portal now. You have guys coming out early. What's your thoughts on college football?
The transfer portal in the NIL is the wild, wild west right now in NCAA football, and they need to do something. The whole NIL, the idea was not for it to be a free market the way that it is right now. It was really, what Ed O'Bannon was trying to do is trying to get the university to pay the players is what they're trying to do, trying to get them to pay more money to the players, not this NIL thing. I don't like the NIL because I think it creates a lot of issues as far as in the locker room. This guy's getting, a lineman's not going to get the same kind of money as a quarterback. He's not going to get the same kind of NIL money. He may get some NIL money, but he's not going to get the same kind of NIL money. And what are these guys doing with the NIL money? What are they doing with it? Are they putting it away, saving it, investing it? If they are doing something smart with the money, it could set them up for the rest of their lives. But I don't like the way it's structured because I don't think it's fair. Number one, it's not fair for everybody. And then we all know some schools have more money than other schools. So now you're getting the boosters involved. Now they have these collectives at these different universities, and these kids are just going to the highest bidder and not really concerned about the quality of the education that they're going to receive or the type of campus life that they're going to have when they go to these schools. So I'm not really a fan of the NIL, the transfer portal. I don't necessarily have so much of a problem with it. I have a problem with the fact that, heck, my freshman year, I wanted to transfer. You got to understand, we all were all state, all league, all whatever when we went to college.
Right.
And you get there and you think that you're going to play immediately and you think you should play immediately. And you may be better than some of the guys that are there. But what you don't understand is some of these guys have been in that program for 2 or 3 years, and the coach has developed a certain amount of trust with that player. The coach is going to play who he trusts. And if you don't have that trust with the coach, you're not going to play. So he wants, the coach trusts that you're going to do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it. If that blitz comes in, you're going to pick up that blitz so your quarterback doesn't get killed. You're going to run the right route. You're gonna run to the right hole. You're gonna do everything that you're supposed to do because you've been in that program, and so you built up trust. My brother and I were talking about this a while ago, because all of us wanted to transfer. After your first year, everybody wants to transfer because we think we'll be playing more. So I think these guys. So what are we teaching our young kids? When things don't go your way, you just leave and go somewhere else and think the grass is greener on the other side of the fence, and you get over there. And you find out it's the same thing. You're going to have the same problems because you're going to have to develop that trust again with that coach, because there's players that he's gone into these families' living rooms and spoken with the parents and said, hey, I'm going to do this here. I'm going to do this and do that. And then you come along and you think you're going to jump in front of that kid. That's not necessarily the case. So, a lot of these guys just need to stay where they're at. There's so much movement going on. I don't think it's good for the game or for the college game. I don't particularly care for it. In the only case that I wouldn't object to it is when a coach decides to leave. If a coach decides to leave, then the player should have the opportunity to go somewhere else, because you don't really commit to the university. Although that's what they say you're supposed to be doing, you commit to the coach. That's who you're committing to. And if the coach decides that he wants to leave or the coach gets fired, then you should have the opportunity to go somewhere where you're going to feel wanted and appreciated.
Oh, absolutely. Mel, we have Mel Farr with us here, a junior here on Ralph Williams One-on-One. Haven't been on for a while with the One-on-One show here. And it's a pleasure to have you on tonight, Mel, here on the program. Tell us a little bit more about some of the stuff you're involved in, podcasts and things like that.
Well, I do a podcast with really the only one I do is with Scott. We do that every
Right.
Tuesday. Scott Morganroth, who with the South Florida Tribune. Those are the only ones that I do. When we initially started out, it was kind of funny. We talked about basketball, we talked about baseball. We didn't talk about hockey because I don't know much about hockey, but we talked a little bit. We talked a little, and now we kind of streamlined it down to where I just talk about football, NFL football, and college football. But yeah, the only podcast I do are with Scott, man, over there at the South Florida Tribune. Have a good time doing it.
All right, Mel, thanks for being part of the program. Appreciate you being on here. Ralph Williams One-on-One. Thanks for coming on tonight. And you have a great one. And once again, thank you. And we'll try to have you on again sometime on a Sports Corner podcast and see if we can get you on for that with my co-host, Smoking Jim Frazier. And I wanted to let you know on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, the 20th, I'm starting my own radio show here in the Pittsburgh area on Beaver County Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. every Tuesday night, starting this coming Tuesday on the 20th.
Well, good luck to you with that.
Oh, thanks, Mel. I appreciate it. You have a great one. Thank you for being on the program.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. That was Mel Ford Jr. He was our guest tonight here on Ralph Williams One-on-One. We have a few announcements before we wrap it up here. First, I want to talk about tonight, 10:30 p.m. I'm going to be on with Peter Blake in the Sports Web on YouTube. We talk Turnbuckle Talk, myself, Peter Blake, Mark Mancini, and that'll be at 10:30 tonight. Tomorrow night, 347-205-9631. Blog Talk Radio, Wrestle Talk, myself, Mark Mancini, and Smoking Jim Frazier. And then on Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m., we have the External Bum podcast with myself and Mark Mancini. Our special guest this weekend, or this Saturday, both of our usual special guests will be on, Joe Kuglis and Avi Greenwald. So we're going to have a nice little panel there of four of us to talk about the External Bum and the sports and what's going on in sports all around the nation, and talk about some bums in sports, which we do every Saturday morning at 9:30. Then at noontime, if you live in the Pittsburgh area at noontime or in Western Pennsylvania tomorrow, Saturday, I will be at the new ribbon cutting for the new Beaver County radio studio, which is in Brighton Township, which will be up on, it's in Brighton Township. And so I will be there for the ribbon cutting. There's also a car cruise there. A lot of the other personalities of the station will be there. I will be there. And I will be more than happy to, if you come by, say hello. And, so I also wanted to talk about tonight a little bit about the passing of Stan Savran. Savran was a Pittsburgh godfather of sports. 40 years in sports here in Pittsburgh. He passed away the other evening of lung cancer, and he's going to be he was a well-respected sportscaster here. I had a couple of experiences with him. I used to sit at the same table with him down at Three River Stadium when we were at the Bill Cowher press conferences back in the 90s when I had my sports talk show on PCTV and on WEDO radio. Also, I had the privilege of calling him up one time. We were talking about different coaches who, when Dave Wannstedt got fired by Pitt, which I thought was a travesty, Stan would come on and he says he wanted to hear from, out there, who would I hire or who would you hire if you were the new athletic director? And I said I would hire Rick Neuheisel, because at the time Rick Neuheisel had taken Colorado and Washington Huskies, the University of Washington, to several, bowl games, and Colorado had been at some major bowl games. They were a prominent program at one time. Now Deion Sanders is there, so we're going to see what he does. But anyway, and I had said Rick Neuheisel, and he went, "No, I don't think so. That's Rick Oldheisel." So I thought that was pretty funny the way Stan said that. And, so I thought it was pretty interesting as to how he did that. And so that's my memories with Stan Savran. But this coming Tuesday, June 20th, 5 to 6 p.m., the debut of Sports Corner on Beaver County Radio. All right, so we're going to be there. You can call in at 1-800 or I'm sorry, 1-888-846-1888. You can call in and say hello, say your opinion. I have my guests will be Claudio Rosano, Luther Dupree, and of course my co-host Smoking Jim Frazier will be there as well, as he always will be on all the shows. The idea is that we're going to have the three of them on, and they're going to talk about the Boxing Authorities, which is a boxing show that they do on Channel Box, and they're also on the WBC network, and they're working on getting on the Fight Network as well. And so they're going to talk about boxing a little bit, sports, and we're going to talk a whole lot about a lot of things on Sports Corner. It's going to be a very entertaining show, and I'm going to be the new voice of sports on the radio in the greater Pittsburgh area. And I hope to get a lot of listeners. You can watch on Facebook if you can't get the signal, or if you live out of town or out of the area, even if you live in Alaska, you can get it on Facebook. We're going to be live on Facebook on Beaver County Radio's Facebook page for every broadcast. So, and also you can get listen on the website Beaver County Radio, and also on their app at Beaver County Radio as well. You can download the app to your phone, and you can always listen to our program as well. We are the new voice of sports, and I want to tell you this. Last night, someone, and I'm not going to name any names, who happens to work for our local sports station here, 93.7 The Fan, he was told last night, and he's on another program in this town on a TV show here, and he was told last night that I'm coming, that we're brand new, you got competition now. And he went, what competition? And I said to myself, really? Is this where we're going to go with this? Okay. So, so I urge you to tune in. And also, if you're interested in being a sponsor for the radio show, not only can you be a sponsor for the radio show, but you also get my two podcasts here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. And you also get the two national broadcasts of Wrestle Talk and of the External Bum on Blog Talk Radio. Call 412-990-8448, and we'll be glad to set you up with a sponsorship here. My rates are very low and very affordable. Or you can reach me at ralphwilliams737@gmail.com, and I'll be more than happy to send you out a rate sheet and all the information you need to become a sponsor of all of RW Media shows. This show is brought to you tonight by RW Media, Amped Up Sports, and our new sponsor, Sideline Sports, also, which I forgot to mention earlier, but that's okay. It's been a while since we've done a Ralph Williams one-on-one show. This show's done here sporadically on the guest time, so it's not on a steady time. And whenever we get an opportunity to get on and do it, we will. I'm Ralph Williams. It's a pleasure. Thank you for watching. Have a great night and be safe.